Let's start streaming to YouTube. There we go. Okay, so today we're going to be narrating another one of the Market Plaza tutorials. This is going to be at least a 50-minute stream into a 50-minute VOD. And hopefully this goes smoothly. So, we're gonna start playing the video here. And we jump straight into the layout with this one. So the front of the build is 7 back and then 10 across. Then the back of the build is 8 back and then 8 across. And then you have another part that is 3 back and 4 across. And this is not necessary, but for this tutorial, I actually made the floor go 3 down from the initial. So you see the beams here for the placement. So although it says 3, you can also do 2 and then place another layer. But this is optional. So we're snapping to the beams or the wall, and then we're going to enable free placing, and we're just going to start placing and then holding and dragging just where the grey part basically starts to end on the floors. And we're going to do this basically for the entire floor. So you're just holding and dragging across where you can. If you get issues like that, you just turn on snapping for a quick second and then you turn it off again. And here, I believe, I free place into the little gap in the corner there, and then I just drag it across. And again, you're just like, where the other floor ends, you're just placing it slightly underneath where that grey bit starts. This is actually very easy to do. It looks a lot more complicated than it is. The floor at the bottom here is basically your anchor point to where you'll be stopping bringing it down. But again, this isn't necessary, you can skip this portion. So, as it says in the video, you must be on 15 degrees snapping. You can either change the snapping point by pressing L, or you can check what snapping point you are by pressing Q. So, when you have it straight, you then do 2 clicks to the right, and then for the rest of this, you're going to do 2 clicks to the left. So 2 clicks again, and then 2 clicks again. And just doing it all the way around. 2 clicks again. I say all the way around basically until you meet the wall. And you're just doing the reverse on this section. So here we are creating the entranceway, and as it says, you're leaving 2 walls either side, and you're going to delete these beams to not have extra snap points, basically. The floors are enough to snap to. And you're going up by 2 walls so it matches the doorway height. Then we're adding a layer of walls here. And then you can leave the stone pillars till the end, but I am adding in stone pillars here. And you're going to add stone pillars to the center. So, to place this arch beam, I have turned off snapping, and it's just slightly above where the arches are. And then, so how you place the windows is gap here, window, gap here, window, and then it should be 2 gaps, and then window, then gap, window. So, I didn't pause that very well, but you're about to see it again here. We're going up by 4 walls. We're using the clay walls. They can have finicky snap points. Make sure you're always doing it on the furthest wall away. So you're going up by 4 and you're dragging across, and then you're going to drag down. And you're going to use this wall as a snapping point, just to ensure everything is on the same. And then just bring the pillars up once again if you want to, or leave it till the end of the build. It really doesn't matter what order you do it in. And then here you're following the same pattern as before. And what you're doing is you are just adding the smaller windows. And then you're going to add clay walls in between them. All fairly easy right now. And you go up by 3 walls, as you can see. You drag it across, then you drag it down. You're using the windows as reference in this part. And then you're going to add pillars again, following the guidelines that are already there. This is, just to clarify, this is a snapped beam, and it's going directly under the top windows here, which would be the second row of windows. And we're adding another snapped beam to the top of those windows, dragging it across. To this wall will be just, you don't need to count, you just need to match it up to the wall here. This is why this part of the video is sped up, because you don't need to think about anything you're doing in this particular section. For this front half, the walls just need to match up, basically. I would recommend building up and not doing what I did to place these. I placed these very awkwardly. Supports will help you greatly. I believe I start jumping to place these. But yeah, you can drag and hold if you just build up. As the video says, we're going to create a 3x4 box using the plank floors. It doesn't matter if you do this in particular, but this will showcase where we're placing towers and things in a second. That is why we are using the masonry floors here instead. And that is a 4x4, and you're going one out on this one. And this should also be a 3x4 box. In the end, we line up the masonry tiles to the 3x4s, and we add the masonry tiles behind the boxes as well to differentiate where there will be things on the roof. So, these 3x3 masonry tiles are going to be where we place 2 towers. You're just adding a layer of clay walls right now on every side of that tower. We're adding another layer in a very awkward way. We're focusing on one tower at a time. We're doing both at the same time. You're just adding another layer. We're not making space for windows on this layer. That should be the next layer. There we go. It is the next layer. You're going to place the windows first. They are the tall, narrow windows. You're just adding that to every side that is not the inner side, where the windows would just be looking at each other. Now we're going to go up by 4 walls, drag it across. You can use the windows as a reference here. I would recommend doing all the outer windows before you decide to do the inner one. But I didn't do that for some reason, so I made life harder on myself, as you can see here. We're just doing that for every single one. And here we're adding some pillars again. Just drag it down. You can do this at the end of the build if you'd like to. There's no reason to do it now if you don't want to. And we are building the roofs for the little towers now. So, for ease of snapping, I like to build floors. You don't have to do this, but I find it easier to snap stuff correctly. And here I'm just placing those last set of pillars I didn't place earlier. We are using the 60-degree corner roofs here, and just obviously snapping them on the corners of the build. As you can see, I placed that wrong, and I just have to correct it. We're doing this on every corner, on both towers. And we are using the 60-degree small roof to fill in the roof here. And for ease of snapping, we're again adding in a 4 plank, and then we're adding in some beams. We're going to add another 4 plank on top of those beams to make life easier, or I didn't do that, but you should do that. It does make the chimney cap actually easier to snap. I don't know why, but it snaps weirdly on the beams. So we are using 26-degree corner roofs here. We're just adding it to every corner, obviously, and then we're going to fill in the gap with the small 26 roofs. Now for the sides, we are adding stone banisters. You don't need to add as many as this. You can just go directly into placing the fences if you wanted to. Here we're placing the stone railings, just dragging them all across until they meet one of the banisters or basically one of the roofs or walls. There's no need to actually add it to the back, so we will be leaving the back. Now we are inside the build, in the main entrance. And I don't remember exactly, but we should be leaving 2 walls. Yeah. Oh, 3 walls. Never mind. There should be 3 walls left on either side. I destroyed this wall because I left 4. And we're going up by 5 stone pillars here. And then I break, so above the pillars there should be basically a two wall gap, and then we're going to place our arches in that 2 wall gap, just like that. And you are going to snap to the top floor here to create a platform for your merchants. The platform should be 2 wide, so there will not be much room for your merchants, but it's not meant to be. Now we're just adding a line of clay walls here on both sides. If you can't reach all the way up, it doesn't matter really for the moment. You can always do that in a second. Right now we are trying to get the snapping point for the tall arches. I believe this is its max height it should be snapped to if you're snapping. If you can, I'm not snapping to the floor, but so that the edge, the bottom of the arch is touching the floor, basically. If you have issues with snapping, just snap to the upper arch. Use that as a snap point. On this side, you're doing the same thing. I believe I might use the V key, there we go, to get the snap point on this one. Snap points can be quite finicky in this game, especially unlike in Shrouded, we don't have a way to cycle our snap points. You can see me just measuring against the other arch so that they are the same height. And then just underneath the stone floors, I'm adding some clay walls. Or plaster walls, forgive me. And then I'm just adding some plaster walls up there before I add in some more arches to the top. And we do the same thing on this side. Plaster walls are thicker than clay walls, so I believe that's why I've used plaster here instead of clay. Now we are placing the large stained windows. It might take you a while to get the snapping for this. It took me a while. You want it so the arches are aligned with the center. So you want it so this side is aligned with the center of the bottom 2 arches, then you want a gap, as we are going to place another window here. So I did that wrong. It seems so. I didn't do it wrong, but I replaced it anyway. Okay. But yeah, we add another narrow window here in between the 2 big windows. As you can see, this window is where the arches meet in the middle. That's where this big window is. So these arches are offset, basically. Then you just add another plaster wall above the narrow window. We are dragging the stone arches across here. These are snapped. I have to destroy the narrow window, but you can actually place it back. I don't know why, if you're allowed to have both. Ooh. So let me find where we were. There we go. I don't know why it doesn't let you snap the stone beams over it. Here we're creating a little area for our merchants. We're using the large timber beams, and we're going to snap the plaster walls into those large beams. Then you just add some lights behind here. Make the arches go. And basically you would repeat on this side what you did on the other side. I don't demonstrate it here. But on this side we are adding windows, and the windows go 2 block gap, window, 1 block, window, 1 block, window. And there's only 3 windows on each side. We're going up by not 2 windows, but 2 walls. Use the windows for reference. The wall should be one above the window, and we're placing another row of windows in the same position on both sides. We're going to be going up by 3 walls so that the walls you're placing are one above the window. These are clay walls, so I recommend you actually start from this side, as the snapping points will be cleaner. And just add pillars. I would recommend you do these pillars now, as they will be necessary for the rest of the build. So we're adding a arch beam across. It's snapped. And these are free placed. You can just free place one and then drag it across if you want. I believe I free placed most of these. You're trying to look more into the arch beam. So the arch beam, basically you don't want it to clip through the arch beam, but you also don't want to push it too far down into the window either. You're just trying to line this up so it's exactly in the middle. I turn on snapping and just drag this one across to showcase that you can do that. And then I accidentally destroy the wrong. And then you're adding a snapped beam going across. And you snap clay walls to the limestone walls we just placed. And then you drag that all the way down. In between the windows is where you're doing this. And now we're adding another snapped arch beam below the window. And we're repeating the exact same thing. On this side here you can see me using the drag across method, so everything is in line basically. Again, you're snapping the clay walls to the limestone walls that are sticking out to create a bit more dimension, and you are adding some pillars in here. Again, just bring across some stone arch beams. Okay. So, you can see the tiles. You're placing this one wall in. There should be a 2 block gap in the center. And then on the outside of these walls, you're placing 2 pillars. Just like that. And then you're going to place an arch on the top of those pillars. Then you could use a large clay wall here if you wanted to, but I use the small clay walls and just do a 2x2. And you want it in the middle of the arch. And here you are just going to add a wall, and we are going to go up by 4 walls from this previously placed wall, so it'll be 1, 2, 3, 4, basically. 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then where that previously 2x2 wall section or large wall that we placed, we're placing that large window directly on that. Okay, so you are looking straight towards the entrance right now, and then you're going to rotate this on 15-degree snapping, 3 clicks to the right, just like the video shows. You're going to build this to one above the window. Give me a second and I can go back and count that. We're going to do the same on this side, so I'll count this one. That is 1, 2, 3. Okay, I guess I'm not counting that. Jesus Christ. Have to be snap a beam to the middle, and then we're going to go by 2. This is because we need to create a unique snapping point. So this goes out by 1, and we're going out by 2 here. We're destroying a wall here that you don't see actually placed in the video, but I place, and then I realize I actually need a different snapping point. Whenever you're trying to figure out how to place stuff, just align yourself with basically the front of the build, and consider that how you base stuff on things being straight. And we're going to do the same thing on this side. So I looked down, I used these tiles as reference, this is now straight. Now we're going to do 2 clicks to the left or counterclockwise. Is that right? I don't remember. But you can see the direction in the video anyway. So now these pillars are acting as a snapping point so that we can snap a wall into this wall. It's not really a half snapping point, it's more like a quarter snapping point, but to remove that gap. On this side, I'm just trying to match it up so these walls are the same rotation. It may not let you drag down, you just kind of have to place some of them. So this is rotated in the center. This is so we're placing this next to the window, but we're snapping it to the wall that is connected to this pillar here. We'll be doing the same on the other side. It may not let you drag all the way up, you may have to place some bits manually. So you just want to drag this pillar down to this wall here. And we're doing the same thing on the other side. You can see the rotation here. Exact same as the other side, you're clipping to this wall and not the one closest to the window. Underneath the window, snap a arch beam and snap another one. So we are we are placing a clay wall, and we're going to the top of the wall we placed earlier, which should be 5 walls high. We're going all the way around. We're doing this for the entire tower. We're going to repeat this on the other side as well. You are using the arch beams as reference points. And you can see, although the pier block is clipping into it, we are using column bases, straight column bases on this entrance point, clipped into the tower. We're going to drag some columns up. And we are dragging an arch beam across here. So you want to be on 15-degree snapping for this, and you see this line here, you're trying to line up this pillar, that gap, just like this. So they're pointing in the same direction. You're just going to drag it up to the top of the wall. You're going to do it on this one as well. But you're going to skip dragging it up, and you will drag it up on this one. You'll add the bottom one to this one, but then you skip dragging it up, and you'll drag up on this one instead. Same thing here. And then we're adding some column stones on the ones we did not drag up on. And we're doing the exact same thing on the other side. So, above the walls we have placed before, we are now placing 2 more walls. Okay. We're placing 5 more walls. Correction. That's 5. You use the other wall as a reference point because I believe I can't count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yes, 5. But you have this wall, you can use it as a reference point. And then we're just going to be adding some straight pillars to the side of this. And then we're going up by 3 on the same pillars you just did. So you're snapping to this pillar here. I'm trying to drag it down, and you're dragging it down all the way to the bottom. You're going to snap to this pillar here. And drag it down all the way to the bottom again. Where this doesn't need to be accessible, you can make it accessible if you want, but we're closing it off because we don't need it to be. So on these pillars here, we're going up by 4 pillars. So 1, 2, 3, 4. If you don't build up like me, you will have to manually place them. I recommend you start building some scaffolding. I will build it in a second, but I'm very stubborn and I haven't done it yet. Pro tip, use scaffolding. Don't be lazy. Again, this is going up by 4 pillars. And then you're going to snap the clay walls to the pillars, because clay walls are awkward and like to create different snapping points sometimes. So we're using the pillars to make sure they are where we want them. Now we're going around to the front, and that wall needs to be straight. And I would recommend you use some scaffolding again, and what we want to do is we want to drag it across. But as you can see, I'm at the wrong height, so I can't drag it across. And I am so stubborn right now. Life would be a lot easier if you just built the scaffolding. So you want to go to the top of this pillar with the clay walls. You're repeating the same thing on the other side. Again, if you have scaffolding, it's a hell of a lot easier. I like to make life difficult. And this is very quick. I don't know if you caught that, but you're adding 2 clay walls to the top of the windows. And then you're going to add some pillars. As the video says, it is 2 clicks counterclockwise. Use the front of the build to anchor you. And this is 2 clicks clockwise. I really wish I wrote left or right, because my brain just dies when it sees clockwise. I don't know why. And then the middle beam needs to be straight. Just like that. And then that one goes up by 1. And this one doesn't go up by 1, but these 2 right on the corner do go up by 1. Just get the rotation right. And again, scaffolding would really help you in this. Again, you're adding another height to this pillar. You're going to do the same on the other side. I have now finally built some scaffolding. We are deleting some walls to then clip, basically, then we're going to clip it into another wall. We're using the straight walls here to do that. How becomes the tricky part? We're using 60-degree roofs. We're using the small roofs. And it is going to follow the same template as the walls below, which is just 2 clicks on 15-degree snapping. Corners like this might be awkward to do. You might need to delete the pillars in order to get it. Personally, you do want to try and get this as perfect as possible. As you will learn, it's about to be your nightmare if you don't. I use here to get a different angle to hopefully be able to snap it. I do eventually concede that I did get the right snapping point. And you're just repeating the exact same thing on this tower. Snapping points will be a bit finicky at this stage because there is lots of detail in this section of the build. Again, you might need to delete that pillar in order to be able to place your roof at the time. So, we are snapping these walls to the roof. So these walls are going to be inside each other. Snapped inside each other. just like this, and then you drag it up. These walls are 4 high. You're going to basically just follow the roof below for every single one. That is placed wrong. That needs to be clipped in by 1 so those 2 corners meet. We're just going to make the corners meet on every single corner pretty much, following the roof below as a guideline. Drag that up, it's 4 high. Again, you need to be on 15 degrees snapping for this, and you can check what snapping you are on via the Q menu, or you can cycle snapping via pressing L. This is very finicky. So you were snapping to the previous corner there. You are again snapping to the previous corner there. Because we have not placed roofs in that inner bit. So you have to snap to the previous corner rather than the corner you were looking at. Again, this is snapped to the previous corner, and then you need to do this for everyone. I move away, but then I realize that I have not done it for these 2 corners. And we're doing the exact same on this tower. We're going to skip this, as we've just seen how to do this. And for this part, we are snapping a corner roof all the way around. You're basically moving the corner roof by, I think it's 1 click every time. This one is 2 clicks. Just keep placing corner roofs until you have a roof, was my strategy here. You're trying to get very finicky snapping points, so this will take a while. If you are snapping it here, it is in the correct position. I'm just trying to work out in my brain that it's in the correct position at this point. Yeah, maybe it wasn't in the correct position. You just want the corners sticking out, basically. And you're going to rotate this all the way around. And it's not going to be perfect, because it is aids to make this perfect. I wouldn't worry about it too much. Basically, the top of the roof should make a circle like shape if you have done this correctly. I am very shit at explaining this part, because I was very shit at making this part. I had no idea what I was doing whilst I was making this roof. So I will let this video play out slowly for this section. We're doing the same thing on this tower. You basically want the where the corner roofs all connect at the top to look slightly like a circle. That is your goal. And I believe I'm doing 2 clicks every time on this one, so I actually know what I'm doing here. That was on 15-degree snapping. We have turned off snapping to place this large pillar. Try get it in the center. The original has flagpoles snapped here. I did not have the flagpoles at this start in the game, so I just created some temporary stuff, but use flagpoles if you have them. It will look a lot better with flagpoles, I assure you. So I make those beams too high. Yes, I leave them too high in the end. Then we are moving on to the next step. You place two straight, and then you're just trying to follow basically the curve of the wall here. Might take you a minute to find the correct snapping point. But you're just trying to line it up with the walls you have placed previously, basically. Jesus Christ, you guys. Just gonna continue to do this on all sides. You could use a different type of floor if you don't like how these are clipping into each other and the texture is getting messy. I would probably recommend one of the wooden floors if you wanted to avoid that. I just snap that across. We're adding 2 pillars, snap to the walls here. For the next stage, I believe we are adding a pillar to the middle of the 2 walls connecting, so a pillar here. And now we are free placing fences. Just try to vaguely get them in the right position. You can look towards the pillars to try and get the angle that you want. This is finicky, it will take you a second. It takes me a second in the video. Free placing is always awkward. You can use Control and Z, plus the Control Z, plus the scroll wheel. Actually, I don't even think you need to press Control. Literally, it says you can just press Z and scroll wheel. I don't know where I got Control from, but I did. Okay. And now we are adding a marble floor across. Snap to the wall. And we are snapping a large window in the middle of this, and then adding 2 walls either side. And then those walls will go up by 3. We're adding 2 narrow windows next to the the original window we placed. Now we're using 60-degree roofs. We're adding some pillars to the side here, just below the 60-degree roof. We are adding some pillows clipped into the windows. On the outer side. We're adding clay walls above the windows in between the pillars. Then we are destroying 2 of those clay walls. We're adding a arch beam across to hide the plaster. And then we're adding another large window. Notably a different large window that does not have openable shutters. We're adding clay walls either side of that to just to up where the window itself is. Use that as a reference point. And then you're adding 2 clay walls above it, and then you're adding a 60-degree clay wall either side, and then you just add some more clay walls there. You are adding a arch beam across at the top of the window again. Forgive me, apparently not at the top of the window, one above the window. And then you are free placing some stairs. Using the arch beam as basically a reference point, you are trying to get the stairs into the middle. Not necessarily the middle, but so they are not overhanging, but they are measured up to the pillar, to the side of the pillar. And then you are adding a pillar in the center to remove the gap you got when you place these stairs. Now you are going up by 3 walls and then dragging across. It doesn't really matter what side you drag from, although if you start in the center, you'll probably get a better snapping point. You're doing the same on the other side. I would recommend just go and building some scaffolding around. It will be faster. Again, you can see me trying to work with the awkward clay wall snapping points. We are using 60-degree roofs here. These are the reed roofs, 60-degree roofs. Just snapping those across. We removed the lower ones. I forgot about this, but this is actually one too high. So we're adding another layer of clay walls below this one. And then we're going to snap the 60-degree roofs to that. The other side is the exact same. Here is pillar, 2 wall gap, pillar, 2 wall gap, pillar. And it follows the same pattern below. This side is the exact same, so we're going to skip that. We're going up by 3 walls here and we're dragging across. We're snapping 60-degree roofs once again. It's the exact same on this side, although I have now built scaffolding because you will need to be higher for the next section of the build. You are just repeating the same pillar pattern you did below, which is 2 walls, pillar, 2 walls, pillar, 2 walls, pillar. And we are going up by 4 pillars here. We are at the entrance right now. Then we are replacing a window in the center here. That is why you need to place a wooden floor, and we're going up by 3 on either side here, around the large the large floor, which if you're using the small floors is just a 2x2, and we're doing the exact same on this side. And in the center, we are demonstrating that these are different parts of the roof, and this does not have a tower on it, by using a different color. You don't have to do this, you can do whatever you prefer. I just do it so that people can count if they need to. You're adding pillars to this side as well. Okay, now you are in the in between both of the towers. You are replacing this timber beam. And so the beam is in the right position. I would recommend turning on snapping and then dragging a beam across. Exactly like this. And then you place the next beam. You will need to place that beam, but you have a reference point with the beams you built across. And you are going to snap 45-degree stone stairs in this spot. And now you are now for the top of the roof, you are just adding 60-degree corner roofs to each corner, which should finish off the roof here. Make sure your corners are aligned properly. I don't know why, when I'm not looking at them from behind and I'm looking at the inner corners, I struggle to tell if the roofs are aligned. And at the top of this roof, you are again going to place flagpoles if you have them. I did not have them, so I just made some temporary stuff. Now, we are basically just going to repeat what we did on this side over here. So, to work out basically where I need to place the window, I bring across some stone, some floors. Then you just snap in some clay walls. I'm trying to work out where the clay walls should be so that they snap for the roof nicely. But just use your roof as a reference for this part. And then you just need to snap in 2 clay walls there. We're adding an arch beam across at the top of the window here. Then we're adding 2 more arch beams. And then we are adding in the 3-place stairs. And you are done. that is it for the stream today, and that is it for the tutorial today, because this was a long one. So we're going to leave it there. Thank you for joining, and I hope you enjoyed, and this made the build more accessible to you.